Standing on business isn't about being the strongest or most powerful character. It's about the principle, about the moral code. No matter the situation, I'ma handle it. And there are very few characters that personify that more than Season 5 Rick. And don't get me wrong, Rick was standing on business all throughout the whole show. But this season specifically, he had all 10 toes curled, gripping the floor. And to really understand Season 5 Rick's mindset, you gotta look at how the show left off in Season 4. Rick and Michonne are being held at gunpoint, while Carl has a knife to his throat, and Daryl is getting beaten to death. So this man Rick, with a gun to his head, throws a backward headbutt at the leader Joe. Detroit Urban Survival needs to take notes. But now Rick's heavily concussed, so Joe just kicks Rick's ass for a little, until Rick bites a piece of Joe's neck clean off. I know there were some zombies in the forest that just couldn't believe what they just saw. And to make that scene even crazier, the actor for Rick asked to use uncooked chicken instead of cooked chicken for when he bit into Joe. But yeah, that's who we're dealing with in Season 5. Cause this season literally starts with Rick telling Garrett the exact weapon he's gonna murder him with.
Compound bow and a machete with a red handle. That's what I'm gonna use to kill you.
Which is crazy because Rick is not in any position to be making threats. But thanks to Carol causing a distraction, Rick sneaks up behind the first butcher, stabs him, and the second guy doesn't even try to fight back, and he gets stabbed too. So after this, they're able to escape out of Terminus. But this man Rick was so about his business that he wanted to go back to an overrun Terminus to kill everyone in there.
Take out the rest of them. What? They don't get to live.
But of course, everybody else was not messing with that idea. So they start looking for shelter, and that's when they run into Gabriel. And at this point in the show, Gabriel was a slimeball. Like, this man was not meant to be trusted. But Rick didn't even know that yet and still didn't trust Gabriel, which is crazy. Because if you see somebody dressed in a priest outfit and is afraid to kill a walker, your guard might be down. Like, maybe this guy really just is a priest living in a zombie apocalypse. But Rick was taking no chances and does a little TSA pat down on Gabriel.
I have a church. Hold your hands above your head.
Take your laptops and electronics out the bag. If you got a hoodie on, take it off.
So after checking out Gabriel's church and deciding to stay there and gather up food and resources, we get left with one of the craziest endings to a Walking Dead episode probably ever. And we just see Bob getting his leg eaten by the Terminus group right in front of him. And if Rick didn't want revenge before this, he was really locked in now. And to make things worse, Abraham is taking the bus to DC in 12 hours, with or without the remaining survivors. Pressure! But this is Season 5 Rick. These situations do not rattle him. But even with all these problems, Rick still knows Terminus is somewhere near the church, just lurking. And what happens next can really only be explained in simple terms, so I'll explain it like I'm playing Call of Duty.
Let's do this.
Most of Rick's group leaves to flank Terminus at the school, but Terminus isn't at the school and was really lurking in the woods. Shout out to Shane, Rick's top op. But yeah, Terminus was right outside, ready to flank the remaining members in the church. But I guess Rick and the group who left to go to the school decided mid-flank it was a bad idea to leave the church so vulnerable. So they double back and do a triple reverse flank and squad right Terminus. And of course, Rick had to use that machete with a red handle. Rick, Abraham, and Michonne were just going to town. So the next day, Abraham leaves with the bus, and along with Glenn and Maggie, two of Rick's best hitters. So he's got to lock in even more. But then we end up not even seeing Rick for a couple episodes until he has a run-in with the Atlanta police. And you would think Rick's a former sheriff. This group that he tries to do the hostage exchange with are police. They should be able to reach some sort of understanding. But this dude Bob tries to escape before the hostage exchange goes down. So Rick has to pack him up in his own police car.
You'll die. You'll
Shut up.
And now the group is going to have to do the negotiations with only 2 hostages, which should work, Beth and Carol, for the 2 cops. But keep in mind, this is a hostage exchange, so there's a high likelihood something stupid is going to happen. And you got to multiply it by the Walking Dead factor, because all survivors in the show are just inherently evil. But the exchange actually goes smoothly until Dawn demands Noah back, so Beck stabs Dawn, so Dawn shoots Beck in the head. But what's craziest to me in this whole situation is Daryl uses a gun instead of a bow and arrow to kill Dawn, so you know he's really pissed off. And they don't even get into a shootout after this. That's how you know nobody fucked with her. After this, the group just lives like nomads for a couple episodes. No place to call home, low on supplies, until they get invited into Alexandria And you think a peaceful place like this is gonna tame Rick? Hell no. Rick figures out that one of the people in Alexandria is beating his wife and almost chokes him out in front of the town. Then starts calling everybody in Alexandria soft, so Michonne has to knock him out before he does anything else crazy. But of course, Gabriel, being the snake that he is, already planted seeds of doubt into Diana, so that makes what Rick did look 10 times worse in her eyes. But at the town meeting to decide Rick's fate, Pete, the wife beater, pulls up acting crazy and slices Deanna's husband in the throat by accident in front of everybody, so Rick kills him and wins over the town and cements himself with one of the greatest standing on business performances of this generation.